Let's start with two universal truths that we believe everyone familiar with used vehicle sales will agree with. Truth number one, the best outcomes occur when dealers optimize between turn and gross. And truth number two, the passing of time will diminish a vehicle's profit potential. Now, we'll come back to the second truth in a bit, but let's dive deeper into the first truth. The best outcomes occur when dealers optimize between turn and gross. And to do this, let's use the analogy of a seesaw, balanced on a fulcrum, turn sitting on one side, gross sitting on the other. When one goes up, the other goes down, and vice versa. And in the fulcrum, you'll see a calendar, because days in inventory is traditionally how we've managed the balance. Now, historically, I think we can all agree the seesaw looked like this. Dealers put the emphasis on gross, pushing gross up high at the expense of turn. But then this guy Dale Pollock comes along with a crazy idea. The idea was that if you flip that emphasis and do it with discipline, really pushing up on turn, something interesting happens. Other factors come into play, and the one-for-one trade-off is broken. Pushing turn up high enough, consistently enough, can actually increase gross as well. Well, total gross, that is. An important part of his idea was recognizing that total gross is the true endgame, and that it can rise even as average gross dips. And this is where we were for a good run. Velocity had proven itself, and the industry accepted the norm that total gross was what should be focused on. That is, until it wasn't. As the trend of margin compression increased, there's been some loss of equilibrium. It's become clear that there is a point at which average gross can dip too low and begin to pull down total gross in a way that more turn cannot overcome. Around mid-2017, Dale began to recognize this condition and, as you might imagine, began obsessing about finding a solution. And one day, a thought occurred to him, which became the seed of what we're going to share with you today. That thought prompted an examination of truth number two, the truth that time diminishes a vehicle's profit potential. And to examine this truth, let's use the metaphor of ripeness. So, imagine a banana. We can all understand the ripeness of a banana, that it goes through stages over time. On day one, it's a green banana, full of potential, with lots of time ahead. A few days pass, and you have a perfectly ripe banana. It's in its prime, but it won't stay like this forever, because a few more days go by, and then you have a bruised banana. I mean, this is not good. Its time is running out, and may have already passed. If you were selling it, you'd give it a heavy discount, or expect to throw it out soon, because after a few more days pass, things get ugly. You've got a gooey, rotten banana, and you've got to get rid of it because it stinks. Okay, you see where this is going, right? In some ways, cars are like bananas. Profit potential, like ripeness, will diminish over time. But unfortunately, cars aren't exactly like bananas. Unfortunately, our challenge is a bit more complex. For one thing, while most bananas age pretty consistently, different cars can age at very different rates from each other. So imagine two cars, shown here on day one, with their profit potential high, represented as green bananas. By day 15 in your inventory, the profit potential of both cars settle in. Here, let's represent this as both cars being perfectly ripe bananas. But by day 30, it's not uncommon for one vehicle to hold its potential longer than the other. Here, the first car is holding strong, while the second car has become a bruised banana. And by day 45, the factors that make that first car a high potential vehicle still remain high. It's still perfectly ripe. While car 2 has dropped off the table. It's a gooey, rotten banana on your lot, and it's got to go. So, what does saying that these cars are both at day 45 tell you about each one's profit potential? Nothing. Day 45 tells you nothing, but hold that thought. There's another way the car challenge is more complex. With cars, you're not always working with a green banana on day 1. Bruised, perfectly ripe, green. Vehicles can be at any stage when you take them in. You might even be taking home a gooey, rotten banana on day one. Maybe by accident, but maybe on purpose. Maybe you chose to buy a rotten banana to close another deal. And if that's the case, what is saying that this car is on day one telling you about the profit potential of that investment? The answer is nothing. Saying a car is on day 1 or day 45 means nothing. The calendar tells you nothing about the profit potential of any given car. Do you see the problem? In both of these scenarios, and many more scenarios throughout the industry, the calendar is the problem. The calendar is an old and crude form of technology, and it tells us nothing about the value of these investments. It's a flawed way of thinking about it, left over from a different time. We may believe it without even questioning it, but we've got to realize calendar time does not equal profit potential. So, how can we know the profit potential of any given vehicle on any given day? Wouldn't it be nice if every vehicle clearly signaled its own profit potential in real time? Signaled it in a way like, a banana? Wouldn't that be nice? Seeing each vehicle's quality as an investment in your inventory as easily as picking a good banana from a rotten banana? Well, it wouldn't just be nice. It's here and it works. Introducing Provision Profit Time. Profit Time is a new method of management. It's a shift in focus from the number of days you hold a vehicle to the profit potential each vehicle holds. And Profit Time is a new metric in Provision. It's a leading indicator that's proven to have a strong correlation with real outcomes in the marketplace. So, about that margin compression challenge, the one that was pulling the velocity V out of balance. The answer is to stop making decisions on calendar time and start making them with profit time. Optimizing margins on every vehicle, raising average gross, and bringing balance back to velocity. For dealers who are ready, it's time to ditch the calendar. It's time to optimize both turn and gross. Profit time. It's time to make money.